Tips for IELTS Speaking. IELTS Speaking Part 1, Interview. IELTS Speaking Part 2, Solo Speech and the Cue Card. IELTS Speaking Part 3, Discussion. IELTS Speaking Part 1, Interview. The first part of the speaking test is the interview. You enter the room, see the examiner, say good morning, and smile. He or she asks to see your passport and to sit down. If he/she offers to shake your hand, do it, otherwise, don't. Your body language is important here, it must show that you are relaxed and confident. When you are talking, try to make eye contact with the examiner as much as you can. During the interview, the examiner asks you questions about yourself, your work, studies, parents, brothers/sisters, pets, etc. Your answer to each question should consist of 1 or 2 sentences, try not to answer with just yes or no. After all, it's your English they want to hear. This is an easy task to prepare for. Read carefully the following questions and answers, and you will get a very clear picture of what will happen. Possible questions. 1. Where do you come from? 2. What is your home like? 3. What the advantages and disadvantages your home has? 4. Tell me about your family. 5. Tell me about your job. 6. Is there anything you dislike about your job? 7. What are your plans for the future? 8. What type of transport do you use most? 9. Do you like reading? 10. What do you like reading the best? 11. What kind of television programs do you watch? 12. Tell me about a film you have seen recently. 13. Do you have a pet? 14. What kind of food do you like? 15. How often do you go shopping? 16. What is your favorite festival and why? 17. How do people celebrate this festival? Giving short and simple answers. The first part of the IELTS speaking test lasts around 4 to 5 minutes. The examiner asks about 10 questions related to you, your daily life and your interests. Common topics are hobbies, family, friends, food, music, etc. Part 1 questions are supposed to be easy, and the examiner must get through all of the questions in 5 minutes or less. That's only about 30 seconds per question. If you try to give long answers, the examiner will interrupt you. My advice is to keep Part 1 answers very simple. Extra examples for IELTS Speaking Part 1. Hometown. I'd just like to ask you some questions about your hometown or city. 1. What type of place is it? 2. What was it like growing up there? 3. Has it changed much since you were a child? Studies. I'd just like to ask you some questions about your studies. 1. What are you studying? 2. Why did you choose that particular course? 3. What job would you like when you have completed all your studies? Work. I'd just like to ask you some questions about your work. What work do you do? What do you enjoy most about your work? What are your main duties? Is there any other work you would like to do in the future? Free time. I'd like to move on and ask you some questions about your free time. What type of activities do you like to do in your free time? How long have you been interested in these activities? Do you like to do these activities alone or with other people? Why? Do you think people have enough free time? Why/why not? Family. I'd like to move on and ask you some questions about your family. How many people are there in your family? Do you all live in the same house? Why/why not? What things do you like doing together? Who is your favorite family member? Timing. Let's move on and talk about being on time for appointments. Is being late acceptable in your culture? Why/why not? Are you ever late for appointments? Why not? What type of excuses do you think are alright for lateness? How do you feel when someone is late for an appointment with you? Neighbors. Let's change the topic and talk about your neighbors. Do you know the people who live next door to you? How often do you see each other? What kind of relationship do you have? How can neighbors be helpful? What kind of problems can people have with their neighbors in a big city? Food. Moving to a new topic, I'd like to discuss cooking and meals with you. Do you enjoy cooking? Why not? What type of things can you cook? Why? What kinds of food are popular in your country? Dreams. I'd now like to discuss your nighttime dreams with you. Do you dream much at night? Do you often remember your dreams? Do you think we can learn anything from dreams? Why? Do people in your country talk about their dreams? Why? Do you think that dreams can come true? Magazines and newspapers. Okay, let's move to a different topic and discuss magazines and newspapers. Which do you prefer reading, newspapers or magazines? Why? What type of stories do you like to read about? Why? Do you think reading a magazine or a newspaper can help you learn a language? Why? Why do you think some people prefer magazines to newspapers? IELTS Speaking Part 2, Solo Speech and the Cue Card. After you have finished the interview, the examiner will hand you a card with 3 or 4 questions on. Usually the card asks you to describe a place, an event, or a situation from your experience. You have 1 minute to prepare a little speech that answers all of the questions on a card. You also receive a paper sheet and a pen to write your notes. The speech should take from 1 to 2 minutes. In the end, the examiner might ask you a couple of additional questions. The tricky part here is to know when 2 minutes have passed. You need to get a feeling what is it like to talk for 2 minutes. My suggestion is to practice at home with a clock, recording yourself while you are speaking on a particular topic. You can use MP3 players that can record. This way you can evaluate your own speech without any help from other people. To improve your IELTS speaking score, use good examples to extend your answers. Real examples or stories about yourself are the best. Part 2 Main Topics. Describe an object, a gift, something you use, etc. Describe a person, someone you admire, a family member, etc. Describe an event, a festival, celebration, etc. Describe an activity, e.g. a hobby. Describe a place, somewhere you visited, a holiday, etc. Describe your favorite book / film / advertisement / website. Most questions fit into one of these topics. For example, describe a river, lake, or sea which you like. Is number 5, you could describe a holiday by the sea, or a city with a river. Remember that in part 2 you are always asked to describe. Make sure you prepare some good adjectives for each topic, make sure you can talk about your opinions and feelings, and think about some examples or stories to make your descriptions more interesting. It's impossible to prepare for every question that you might get in the speaking test, but what are the essential things to prepare for? Here's a list of essentials. Favorites, don't go into the test without knowing what your favorites are. Prepare to talk about your favorite book, film, music, and website. People, be ready to talk about a famous person and a member of your family. Activities, have you prepared some ideas about a hobby? Can you describe a typical day in your life? Try to remember some special moments in your life, such as birthdays, festivals, and weddings. Places, you need to be able to talk about where you live. Also, Think about the places you have visited, what you did there, and why you liked or didn't like them. Things, can you talk about the things you use every day, something you would like to buy, or a present that you received? IELTS Speaking Part 3, Discussion. In the third subpart of the test you have a discussion with examiner. The topic is somehow related to the one from section 2, but it is about more abstract ideas. Your job is to express and justify an opinion. It is called a discussion. Viewed in reality, you are the one who does most of the talking. Common question types. Here are 3 common question types that the examiner could ask you. Compare and contrast. Give an opinion. These are the 3 techniques you can use to create longer, more detailed answers. Explain why. Give an example. Explain the alternatives. Imagine.